Hello and welcome to Course 9 in our Cyber Essentials series. Today we'll be reviewing exploit frameworks. During the course of this video, we'll review MetaSploit, Empire, PowerSploit, Immunity Canvas, Cobalt Strike, Core Impact, and telling you a little bit about those solutions. So what are our attack frameworks? Well, the attack frameworks are a combination of modules or scripts that are used to perform a wide range of tasks, either during a penetration test or a red team exercise or engagement. These pieces of software can do either persistence mechanisms, post-exploitation activities, exfiltration, reconnaissance, bypassing endpoint security controls, and can even do cleanup. Attack frameworks are also used from beginning to end during an ethical engagement by typically an ethical hacker. So there are two types of attack frameworks that we need to be aware of. There are proprietary attack frameworks and community supported. The difference really comes down to whether one costs something or if it is free. They are both dependent upon their maintainers. Community supported projects typically don't have paid maintainers, whereas proprietary attack frameworks do. And then the difference is, one of the other key differences is that a community supported project can either be behind or ahead of the curve in relation to emerging vulnerabilities and different types of exploits for them. Whereas proprietary solutions have a steady release time when they put out exploit packs or they give an update to their attack framework. So really, when you think about a community-supported attack framework over a proprietary attack framework, remember these three key differences: cost, who maintains them, and whether or not they're up to date with the latest exploits for different types of vulnerabilities. And not only exploits, but also tactics and techniques for going about compromising or infiltrating an environment. So MetaSploit. MetaSploit is known by many in the community, whether you're just starting in pen testing or maybe getting into vulnerability assessments, or you've dabbled in CTF events or worked on purposely vulnerable machines. MetaSploit is a all-encompassing attack framework that has reconnaissance modules, post-exploitation modules, all of that. So it was first programmed in Perl and then later refactored into Ruby, was acquired by Rapid7 in 2009. And MetaSploit has not only its community-driven project under MetaSploit framework, but it also has its proprietary project with MetaSploit Pro. Armitage, which we'll talk about later, is a little bit like Cobalt Strike. It provides a nice front-end UI to MetaSploit framework, so you don't have to get its command line, but also it's the open source version, I guess you could say, of Cobalt Strike, which was meant to be a bridge between applied red teaming and penetration testing. So in regards to MetaSploit, though, you can find it installed in Kali Linux. You can install it yourself from its GitHub page, and then you can use offensive security to learn about MetaSploit and then all the different ways to work within the workbench and creating scanning profiles, etc. So those two links can benefit you as you dig more into MetaSploit. Next is Empire. Empire was developed by members of the InfoSec community around 2015, when defenders started to see more and more nation-state attacks using Microsoft's PowerShell for living off the land measures and part of their tradecraft. And so Empire was developed to help not only penetration testers and offensive security engineers better emulate threat actors, but also for defenders to be able to see what it might look like if certain types of measures were taken in an environment from a living off the land perspective. So it primarily focused on post-exploitation activity. This original developers and maintainers of the project no longer maintain it. It has actually been forked and is maintained now by another company, and they've expanded it out and added some additional features. Now, one way in which Empire impacted our industry and impacted offensive security is that other PowerShell tools and additional projects came from it. People saw the power of PowerShell for offensive security tradecraft and started to jump in and do their own projects. So we've provided the original website for PowerShell Empire there. It talks a little bit of how to use PowerShell Empire, how to set it up, how to work with it. And we as well provided a link to the original project and the newly forked and maintained version of Empire, excuse me. So PowerSploit. PowerSploit isn't really an attack framework. It's more of an honorable mention here. The reason for that is it's really an aggregation of scripts written by Harmjoy, primarily programmed in PowerShell. And it has different ways in which it can go about doing reconnaissance in a Windows environment, persistence measures, and additionally privilege escalation. PowerSploit and some of the PowerSploit scripts that were released have been used in offensive security in the tradecraft of adversaries. The project is no longer maintained. I'm not sure why. However, development of the project ended in and around the same time as Empire. PowerSploit was really where Empire got incubation and from where Empire was created. Harmjoy is a primary contributor to Empire. If you go through the Git commit log and everything on Empire, you'll see a lot of commits from Harmjoy and others. But ultimately, PowerSploit can still be used. Obviously, there's probably some adjustments and ways in which you'll need to modify it to do or accomplish what you want, your goals and objectives. But there are some links for PowerSploit to understand how it works, and as well, the key one is the MITRE link from the attack matrix, in which they review how PowerSploit has not only been used by threat actors, but also maybe ways you as a defender or a defender watching this could defend against its usage. So we've really are now moving more into the proprietary solutions that are out there and that are available, and moving away from community supported. And so with that, the first project I want to mention, or the first proprietary solution as it relates to attack frameworks, is Canvas. Canvas, what is developed by Immunity Inc. It's primarily programmed in 2.7. I believe in a newer version, they're going to port it over to 3.0. The company was founded in 2002. It is backed by a full-time research and development team. I believe even the founder comes out of the NSA. The way that they update their solution and their attack framework is through exploit packs. Those exploit packs are really a culmination of all the R&D done over a period of time, the scripts that are created, and it's like an update package for Canvas. And so something to mention here is that although Canvas is proprietary, and in order to gain access to exploit packs, etc., you got to be a customer. Someone who was a customer or whatever leaked online one of their exploit packs for version 7.2.6. The reason this is big news, at least from the 2020-2021 timeframe perspective, is that it had over 800 one days and weaponized Spectre exploits. So one days is when it's gone from being an unknown exploitable vulnerability in the sense of a 0 day to now it is known but no patches readily available. It's become a 1 day. So anyways, a proprietary solution can be used for and as an attack framework and for exploitation. With it being a proprietary solution, you obviously have to pay for it. There's some documentation links as well as some dependency information for how Immunity works. So that brings us to Cobalt Strike. Cobalt Strike, as I mentioned earlier, it consisted of Armitage, right? Not web UI, but that user interface of MetaSploit framework made it easy to run through a GUI and do MetaSploit for those who are scared of the command line and don't want to use the command line. But furthermore, what Cobalt Strike added is it had a reporting engine, and it also implemented a targeted attack process. So this was developed by Raphael Medj, originally released in 2012, and was intended to bridge the gap between pen testing and applied red teaming. So really, most penetration testers were using MetaSploit framework. The industry started to pivot into more of doing more red teaming engagements, and so this is where Cobalt Strike hoped to bridge a gap there. Now, Cobalt Strike has been acquired by Help Systems in 2020. It is backed also by a full-time research and development team. It has post-exploit capabilities that are all documented within MITRE's attack matrix. And one thing to note here, very similar to Canvas, although it was a proprietary solution, someone had bought it, cracked it, and released it and leaked it online. And so Cobalt Strike is very useful and provides capabilities beyond what you might find typically in MetaSploit framework. I know many different hiring managers and companies who do offensive security services look for people with hands-on knowledge of Cobalt Strike. But anyways, Cobalt Strike, again, proprietary solution, bridging the gap between just using MetaSploit framework for penetration testing and then doing applied red teaming. So core impact. Now, Core Impact, I just want to quickly note this, is a Help Systems company. And as you probably noticed when we were talking about Cobalt Strike is now acquired by Help Systems. There has been some whispers amongst the community that maybe Core Impact and Cobalt Strike will be merged in some way and become one attack framework. From what I've seen and what I've read, their Help Systems is primarily managing the two solutions as different pieces of software. There's no integrations at this time. However, that could change down the road. Now, Core Impact is developed and maintained by Core Security. It was originally released in 2002. It's a proprietary solution, so it itself is maintained by a full-time research and development team. Core Security, the company behind Core Impact now, they do develop and test all the exploits. So everything that you get with Core Impact is tested. Now, it has the capability to run third-party security product exploits. However, there is some QA process that needs to be done there. Now, their claim is that they release 10 plus new exploits and security modules every month. And I'll let you, the viewer, decide whether or not that 10 plus really covers everything that might come out within a given period of time. But for something that is developed and tested and has gone under and through a QA process and has some third-party integrations, maybe for what you're doing, Core Impact could help. So what does all this mean? What does it all come down to? Well, it really comes down to the job that you're doing and what you want to accomplish. Obviously, there are many different options. Some are penetration testing focused, some are red teaming focused, some try and work to create a hybrid of the two. The proprietary solutions alleviate any need for there to be research and development done by you, the individual, or the community. Research and development is done by paid staff. So that could be a benefit. That being said, however, there have been instances in which the community supported projects like MetaSploit framework receive a module or proof of concept code or exploit module into the framework that some of these proprietary solutions don't have. So the proprietary solutions are playing catch up. So, you know, with community supported projects, there's always caveats, right? Sometimes there's no reliability. Sometimes the module you might want to use or the proof of concept code you want to use isn't been integrated in yet. So there are those caveats, but ultimately, community supported project where you can view and review the source code and write your own modules for it, and there's supporting documentation for that. It provides you flexibility. Now, some of the proprietary solutions are beginning to integrate APIs where if you're, a customer of their solution, need to write your own script that then integrates with their solution, you can do so. And that's very beneficial to many different researchers. So again, comes down to the kind of job you want to do and the thing you're looking to accomplish. So that is exploit attack frameworks. This was course 9 in the Cybersecurity Essentials series. If you have any questions, go ahead and email us there at cyberrange@techdata.com. Hopefully you enjoyed this and you learned something from it. We'll see you on our next Cybersecurity Essentials video.